Good evening, everyone, and welcome to St. Joseph's Church, both people who are here all the time and people visiting, for this wonderful speaker we have this evening, and the sponsorship being our youth ministry and the Knights of Columbus. I'm Father Al Heideke, and I've been happy to be pastor here for about 3 years. And I've also had the distinction of telling people here when I arrived, I'm in the parish where I was baptized a long time ago. So it's been fun to look up that kind of information. But again, welcome, and I know you'll be blessed by the presentation. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Marta Spezio, the Director of Youth Ministry here at the parish, and this is Lynn Robins, one of our youth board members. And we thank you, Father Al, for welcoming everybody. We would also like to welcome you. I'm just going to go over quickly the evening and then introduce our wonderful speaker for tonight. So the presentation will begin as soon as we exit the altar here, and we'll go till about 8 p.m. At 8 p.m., Father Les Prebendowski, our parochial vicar, will expose the Blessed Sacrament for us for some just private, silent, quiet time, about 15 minutes. So we just ask that you just let the message just resonate in your heart and speak to the Lord in whatever way is comfortable for you. And during that time, actually, Father Les will be back in the children's room in the southwest corner of our church there. And he, for anybody that is interested or would like to, he will hear confessions. And then after the 15 minutes of quiet, he'll come and repose the Blessed Sacrament. And then he will go back and remain in there if anybody else, like he'll stay there as long as needed for confession for those that want to. It's obviously your option. And then we will, we're so grateful, if you can, we will pass a basket for a free will offering to help with Kevin's stipend. And then after that, our Knights of Columbus will be helping with that portion. And then at 8:20, Kevin will be at the table with his book, selling his book and signing for us. And we have some hospitality for you, homemade cookies, coffee, and water, so we hope you will stay around and enjoy that. So with no further ado, Lynn and I would like to welcome our guest. And first I want to thank Lynn for, she did a lot of the work putting this together, so we appreciate her, everything that she put into this. So Kevin Matthews is a successful author and has written one of the most popular books in circulation at Dynamic Catholic Publication with partner Matthew Kelly. Kevin Matthews is also one of the most recognized radio personalities in broadcast history, especially here in the Midwest. Kevin became a household name in Chicago and spoke to over 10 million radio fans weekly while broadcasting from the iconic Loop radio studios in Chicago. Matthew was recently named to the all-time list of top 20 radio entertainers among his radio peers and will soon enter the Radio Hall of Fame. Very exciting, Kevin. In the fall of 2008, his wonderful world became crashing down. While on the air, he became partially paralyzed. God was calling Kevin, and he is here to share this incredible journey with us. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our guest, Kevin Matthews.
Father, well, well, should we book him? How's everybody? Good. It's awesome to see everyone, and Free bird. There you go. Yes. We have an organist coming in. Thank you. Yes, free bird. Now, Father is starting to sweat a little bit. No, it's really great to be here. I hope I don't fall down. If I do, you can pick me up, okay? And I need mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, okay? But it's really great to be in Downers Grove, home of Emo Phillips. Thank you. Downers Grove. Hi, we had some fun here in Downers Grove. We really did. How many people used to listen to me? Wow. Okay, excellent. Kev heads. How many people have no idea who I am? Raise your hand. I love that. Sweet. You have good guardian angels until now. So you'll like it. In the next 5.5 hours, we're going to shut the door. You heard Father say confession. And I had somebody who's, here before I came up, they heard confession. Do I have to go to confession? And they were ready to bolt. I said, no, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It is. I had to remind people today because everybody is like, it's welcoming. And a lot of you folks might have seen me at Zany's or Alpine Valley or whatever. We had a blast together, didn't we? We really did. We grew up together. We had kids together. We came into your house. Do you remember that station called The Loop? AM 1000? 32 states in Canada. Man, oh man, oh man. Now, 2 nights ago, I was up in Green Bay, Wisconsin, doing this beautiful talk. Mary sent me to Green Bay and Chicago. Bears. Boy, oh boy, was that hostile territory. That was like we've got to go back to Egypt. I mean, that was like, it was a different night, but it was a good night. And the reason I bring up Green Bay is because remember Johnny Brandmeier? Johnny's doing okay. I'm going to see him soon because remember my boss who used to write checks all the fines and Larry Wirt? He's doing a documentary on The Loop. And it's going to be really, really big. And remember that jolly little fella, Steve Dahl? He's still around. I talked to Steve a week ago. He's over in Western Springs, looking good. Little too thin, if you ask me. The Hawaiian shirts are really baggy now. Gary Meyer, remember him? Okay. He's in Pittsburgh podcasting. He's got a wife. He's got a daughter. Then do you remember Danny Bonaducci? Excellent. Danny's on his 4th wife. And he's on this documentary. He's doing well. And it's just, it's really a great time. It's really great to be back. I'm in Chicago a lot. And it's really great to be back in these areas because we had so much fun. That little bar in Hinsdale across from the football field. What was that remember that place? Belamides. I remember Belamides. My son, I want to get into my family, my son's a musician, and he was playing at Belamides, and he was about ready to go into a Black Sabbath tune and blew up the fuse box and set a fire. And that's a house now. So, and let me tell you, I got some stuff I want to really address tonight. And it is my family, okay? First of all, I've been married now to Deb, the same woman, for 40 years. Now, 40 years. She is such a saint. She is such a saint. 40 years, that woman has put up with so much. And she is just definitely a daughter of Mary. She took on when she became Catholic, she was like, her family held snakes and drank turpentine, but she became, I got to go to one of those masses. I just, whoa. But she became Catholic. She took the name Bernadette from Bernadette Suburban of Lourdes. Okay, excellent. So remember, my son is a musician. He's right now in Mexico he plays with Dawes. I'm not kidding, you don't believe me, do you? He's in Mexico City right now. He's down with Dawes. They're opening for the Killers, a really nice family band. And he's doing really well. And then T, my daughter, these kids were born on the air. She's got 4 kids now. Little Trin, Bo, Dane, and Rhett. Okay? Like 10, 7, 5, and 2. And I'm a grandpa. Excellent. They call me Bubba. Bubba. So I am not Kevin Matthews any longer. I went to church and I saw Bubba. Okay? No, it's really sweet. It's really great. So it's really great to be here. And it's, I miss you folks. I really do miss you folks. And I'm never going to get into the Radio Hall of Fame. Who cares anymore? Nobody even listens to radio anymore. But if I get onto the Hall of Fame, what I honestly do, and I'm in church, I'm not lying, and I'll go to the confessional after this. I want to literally thank you, the audience, you Kevheads. We did everything together. You're as part of the Radio Hall of Fame as I am. Without you, I have nothing. You're still here. We have second generation, third generation Kev heads. Somebody yelled Freebird, but Freebird, somebody was at LT in a gymnasium, the band, the kids are like, you know, in 9th grade, they go, who wants to hear something? Somebody yelled Freebird, a little kid. That's going to be on my tombstone, Freebird. I love that. So that's what I'm doing. It's good to be back. It really is. I'm going to be here all week. And it's different, isn't it? Because a lot of you folks, we did stand-up. I worked with Bill Hicks or Jerry Seinfeld or Mike Meyer or whatever. I got kicked out of 10 golf courses in Chicago in 10 years. How do you get kicked out of a golf course? Think about it. Not replacing your divots? No. I saw this afternoon Father Stu with Mark Wahlberg. I could really relate to that. That's a beautiful, excellent movie. I'm sorry, I have a disease. But I just, that, you know, because folks, we ran hot and, you know, we did stuff. I did stuff. I don't mean to project on you. I'm so sorry. But it was an unbelievable time, the culture at that time. You know, I got here in '86. I left in 2005. But we were the Rolling Stones of radio. We could do anything. We could do anything. Radio stations would come in at O'Hare, listen to us, take everything, boom, go. And the culture, Michael Jordan, this kid from the Carolinas, up with the Bulls. Bulls are never going to be the same. Michael Jordan, this new woman, Oprah, Mort Downey Jr., Ron Majors, Chet Kopic, Les Grobstein. You know, it's just that guy with the insurance and the car fall and the car. I want to meet him. I want to meet that guy that the door fell off. We had a really, really great time, and here we are. Now, I had a lot of people go, so when'd you turn into a Jesus freak? That's nice, isn't it? Used to be funny. You know how many times I passed out seeing you? Now you're a Jesus freak. What happened to you? What happened to me? Oh, it's interesting. But, you know, I say to people, when did you become a Jesus freak? I say, oh, the age of 6. What? The age of 6. I was raised Catholic, and I was born in Michigan, in Pontiac, Michigan. Yeah, you go to Detroit, and you know Detroit can be scary, but if you say you're from Pontiac, they'll check their wallets and go, oh, great. Pontiac was tough. Pontiac was tough. And I was a little junkyard dog. I really was. And I was going to church. There's this thing, God, but there was, where I lived was hillbilly heaven. Seriously. And neighbors would get arrested. The sirens, even the alcohol that was in my house, you know, was unbelievable. And I remember going to bed because the screaming inside the house and outside the house was, does anybody need water? He'll give you water. Did I look hot? That's okay. And I'd like a steak sandwich. Bill, get it. But it was a time, it was a scary place. It really, really was. And it's in the book. And when I started to write the book, and you'll hear more about that, and I had to proofread it, I read those pages and I went right back and I couldn't read it. That's how well it is. It takes me right back. And I don't mean to be a victim. You know, I don't. But I look back at it and it was a scary time. I had 2 grandfathers. I've never talked about this. I have notes tonight. And I saw just recently, 2 days ago when I was in Wisconsin, I saw this shrine where Mary, our mother, the Virgin Mary, appeared up north outside Green Bay, and it's Our Lady of Comfort. But I saw this stained glass window, and I know it was Mary because I have to write it down to memorize it. I know when I'm spoken to and it's from Mary, I can't, off the top of my head, I have to write it down because I keep forgetting it and forgetting it and forgetting it. That's a good sign for me that it's from Mary. And it was, "Go and fear nothing, I will help you." I thought, that's powerful. Go and fear nothing, I will help you. That's what Mary said to this young girl in the 1800s in Wisconsin. Go and fear nothing, I will help you. And she became a nun, and that's a beautiful, beautiful shrine up in that area. And the reason is, I want to tell you tonight what I haven't told other groups. There's been so many times when I write notes. One time, 3 years ago, I was speaking to a group about this subject, and I wrote down the notes, and I put them up on the podium. It was for a legatus in Chicago, and I went up to the podium, my notes were gone. And it was Mary saying, "I told you not to talk about that. Talk about what I want you to talk about." And we're going to talk about that tonight. Call me insane. I have been hearing voices since I was a little kid. My mom said, "You always used to look at the sky and say there was aliens. You're talking to aliens." I was a little, what was I? You know? But I'm 6 years old, and I became a Jesus freak there because the world scared me. I had two grandfathers. One grandfather was a member of the KKK. I'm 6, I'm a twin, my sister, the KKK. He was a scary man. I am in a church, and I cannot tell you the things he talked about while I drove in a car with him. A scary man. My other grandfather was Irish, cop, Catholic, big barrel-chested cop. He fed people, he was Catholic. Boy, if you hurt a woman, that's when I saw my grandfather get mad. He said to me, "Keevan," he'd call me Keevan, "never be afraid of a man that hits a woman." Big barrel. He and Mama Co used to have these beads, and they'd rock me. Big barrel, gravy stains. I didn't know what he was doing. It was the rosary. I had a choice. Do I go to this grandfather who has filled with hate, or this one who rocked me, called me Keevan, went to church, was a good man, taught me a lot? Racism is taught, but you have to feed it. I love it when people call me a white supremacist. I laugh. Are you kidding me? My grandfather was a KKK member. The other was an Irishman. My cousin on the Irish side was Father John Kavanaugh, the president of Notre Dame. He buried President Kennedy, my cousin. If you saw the movie Rudy, Father Frank, my cousin. I have nuns in my family. You talk about severing that kite and letting it go. I was so far away from my relatives. You don't think I haven't called those nuns and Father Frank and Father John now? You bet I have. I don't care if anybody says I'm insane. I love Mary. I love Mary. I've had people say, "You love Mary too much. You can't come to our church. You love Mary too much. You're going to go to hell." I will never love Mary more than her son. And tonight I'm going to tell you how my journey is parallel to Fatima. Ah, those parking tickets. How Fatima plays such an important role in my life, and Lourdes. Tonight, nothing is a coincidence. There is no such thing as a coincidence. You didn't come here to see Kevin Matthews. I guarantee you. You did not come here to see Kevin Matthews. You were called here. Not by me, but you've been called, you've been prayed for. You're here for a reason. And soon, it's not going to be long, we can go out into that valley of tears if you recite your rosary. That's what it is. But what did Mary say to that girl? Go and fear nothing, I will help you. So tonight is going to be a beautiful night. I want to remind everybody it's Easter. It's Easter. Be happy. That's what I said to the staff when I come in, because how many are going to come? And, what do we got to do? It's Easter, folks. He's risen. Guess what? He's coming back. I'll put it all on the line. He's coming back. Speaking of which, Jim Shorts put it all on the line. He owns a casino up in Beaver Island. Jim is real. I can do an impression of Jim.
Hi, I'm Jim. No, seriously, what are you doing? Quit clapping. Why are you here? Don't read his book. Don't buy it, don't read it. I'm serious. Come up to Beaver Island, gamble, leave the kids at home. It's good to be back in Downers Grove. I'd like to have a radio show on WGN. So, I'm going to leave now.
Thank you. That's my impression. But Jim is real, okay? He's real. And so is Devon, and so is Darnell, and so is Raymond, and yes, everybody. So I want to talk tonight, like I said, we had the Loop. I was born in Pontiac. I had two grandfathers. I've got this Catholic stream running through. I told you about Deb and whatnot. What I also wanted to let you know is when we were in Chicago, over in the suburbs, my kids, they made their first communion, confession. I was a weekend warrior, okay? I took them to church. Yeah, we went to church. They got older. Trev went off to college. I raised some money for the church. I worked for the church and stuff like that. Some politics got in the way. A priest moved. And I said, you know what? I took advantage. I said, you know what? I'm going to quit. I'm done with this. I'm looking for that exit. I'm out. It wasn't an excuse to leave the church. I'm such a slack, I want to go hang out. I want to hunt. That's what I want to do. I want to go, and I'm going to spend the next 5 years, 6 years, Ted Nugent, know him well, bear hunted, deer hunt, everything. You know what I'm also going to do? I met some Indians, natives, Cherokee, Lakota, Hopi, Dene, Iroquois. I met two that would change my life. And I always thought God created the heavens and the earth. These people are caretakers. They're not into politics, although they can be. I met two. Joe Chasing Horse, whose grandfather was Crazy Horse, 7 generations back. You talk about Mini Kanju Lakota. He didn't live on a reservation. He's old school. I went to see him. We had ceremonies behind Mount Rushmore in a little wing. It's Sweetgrass. I know FBI agents took our pictures. I can't wait to see my FBI file. I'm not kidding you. And that was Joe Chasing Horse. And I love Joe, and I wanted to talk about, because I don't talk about this, is because I loved being out. And he was such a spiritual man. And he believes in the same God we do. And what I loved about him, and I want to share it with you tonight, because we're on this earth for such a short time. He said, Kevin, pick up a rock, and you've changed the universe. Think about that. Touch somebody, meet somebody, you change the universe, you change their life. He said, Kevin, when we are born, we cry the breath of life. And the older we get, becomes a prayer. because it becomes closer to our last breath. How beautiful is that? Cry the breath of life. And it's true, as we get older, the breath, until we stop and cross over. I never forgot that. I recently heard that Moses asked God, "What is your name?" And God said, "Yahweh, Yahweh." And I thought of Joe Chasing Horse. And Joe, when you breathe the breath of life, you cry the breath of life, you yell it out, you breathe in as we get old. When you say Yahweh, you're breathing out. Way, you breathe in. You are breathing in God, whether you like it or not, with every breath you take until you have your last breath. And then you cross over. And we'll talk tonight about what's next. Celebrate. What did Mary say to that girl? Go and fear nothing, I will help you. I have to write that down. I can't memorize it yet. I know it's from her. I know it's from her. How does Mary talk to me? How does God talk to me? How does Jesus talk to me? I don't know. I can't explain. But you are being called, and you are going to be called until you answer. I guarantee you that. You will be called until you answer. I don't care how religious you are, you're going to be called. What a mess you are, you're going to be called. You're going to be called until you take your last breath. So tonight, I want you to know, because I've been accused of loving Mary too much, I adore her. I love her. You shouldn't worship her. I do. I worship my mother. It began with God, then Christ, then Mary, and here we are tonight. So I'm hanging out with Native Americans. Santa, another Iroquois Indian. He's an angel. He was my grandfather. He adopted me as a grandson. Santa, he was Iroquois Indian. Santa, S-A-N-A. I'd fly him into O'Hare. He'd always get lost, and I would have his last name's Claus. Santa Claus. Santa crossing feet Claus. He was the most gentle man, and he taught me something. He said, because I was hanging out with Russell Means and Dennis Banks and, the American Indian movement, And Santa ran guns with Russell into Wounded Knee and whatnot. But he goes, brother, I gave that up. He said, if you run with them, and you can, it's political. And it'll kill you. It'll end. You go on the long path. And he looked at the Milky Way galaxy and he said, it's divided in two. The short path is politics. Just like today, politics. Or that long path of stars, that's God. That's a stairway, a path to heaven. You choose that. He was a gentleman. He had nothing. I said, Santa, why are you so happy? He said, brother, I wake up and I try to outgive God every day. Think of that. I wake up in the morning and I try to outgive God every day. He had nothing, but he had everything. He had these beautiful suede deerskin gloves, and they were all beaded, ceremonial gloves. I said, Santa, those are beautiful. He said, here, take them. I can't do that, Santa. No, take them. He says, you truly own something when you give it away. Think of that. Remember that. You truly own something when you give it away. Think of the charity that we could do. Give it away. He'd say, I got 2 feet. How many shoes do I need? He didn't have 10, thousands like the Kardashians. And that's good that they got them, but give some away. One time he was up at Niagara Falls, that's where he was, and he was in his little shed watching Oprah. And Oprah started to cry. He decided from Niagara Falls he was going to walk to Chicago and say that she was a zygoma, a good human being. Think of that. He started to walk. He started to walk from Niagara Falls to Chicago. He got 10 miles and he was diabetic. And they had to bring him into the hospital and he lost some of his foot. He died. He died. But he wanted to walk to tell Oprah she's a good human being. Woo. As he's dying, he called me and he said, Kevin, I'm going to be gone soon. I'm going to cross over. When there's a full moon, I will sit on the moon and you can talk to me and I'll be there. You just call me on the moon. Every full moon now, I say, hey, Santa, how are you? I guarantee you can go and your relatives, they'll be on the moon. Or if you see a full moon, say, hey, Santa Claus. It's a beautiful thing that we've learned, and I've been so lucky, the people that I've met. And we are. I'm going to wake up and outgive God. Chicago is starting to implode. The ratings are gone. Johnny's gone. Steve and Gary break up. Satellite radio. I decide it was just not working. So I'm going to go back to Michigan where it all began, my first radio station. I was offered the morning show, plus I can do programs. I can run a radio station. So I went back and I thought we're going to sell our house really, really quickly. That was, the housing crash 2008. So now I'm commuting back and forth. Debbie's here, back and forth. I thought 6 months turned into a year. 2 years, 3 years, back and forth. I'm a mess. I am a mess. I've abandoned my wife. I think I'm out, not to outgive God, to be a star again. Earn some money. Let's do this. Let's do this. Empty. Church. No. And then, finally, Debbie comes over. I sign a 5-year contract. And I'm on the air. It's 7:16 on a Tuesday in the morning. I can't move. I can't move my leg. I can't move my arm. I can't move my hand. I say to Ed Buchanan, the first man that hired me in radio, I said, Ed, I can't move. I think I'm having a stroke. I get off the air. That was a Tuesday. I drove back to Chicago on Friday with these same symptoms. I didn't ask for help. Think of my low self-esteem. What am I, a fool? Why didn't I go to the hospital? I went to the hospital. They took an MRI. I'm there with my wife. The neurologist, she's great. She looks and she says, you have something in your brain. And that's when I hit my wife and said, oh, at least I have a brain. Look at honey, it's an MRI. I have a brain. And it's in my head. It's not where you always say it is. That was me. Are you kidding me? I've got this mass in my head. The neurologist goes, if that's cancer, and we think it is, we can't operate on you. You're going to have to go and get your life together. You're not going to make this. Reality hits. It's Thanksgiving. I go. I am coming back to the hospital. I'm 1 hour away from getting a brain biopsy. They're going to drill in my head. I'm thinking of the Three Stooges. Can I get serious, please? How much this is going to hurt? Neurologist comes running in. Hey, you don't have cancer. You have MS. MS. And I'm like, Jebby and I are jumping up. Great, I got MS. That's good, right? MS is good, right? No, there's no cure for that. We got to shrink that. And I got the most powerful medications and the steroids. It was back and forth in the medicine. Folks, man, I saw that movie tonight about suffering with Mark and Father Stu, but it was horrible. This medicine was killing me. It was hard to do radio. I'm back and forth. It's hard. Here it comes. just like in Fatima. Fatima starts, are you familiar with Fatima? 1917, 3 little children, Jacinta, Francisco, Lucia. Our mother comes in May, June, July, August, September, October, beyond for Sister Lucia. But in Fatima, before Mary, an angel of peace comes with prayers from God. So Fatima starts with God. For those people that say, I love Mary too much, no, it starts with God, just like in Fatima. Just like in Lourdes, it starts with God. With little Bernadette Suburban, a sister and friend, they go, it's Providence. She's there at a dump with medical waste. Her dad would make medical waste, and she sees Our Lady. But it starts with God in Lourdes and Fatima and with me. With you. Everything starts with God. Everything. It was St. Patty's Day. I had to go see my attorney who's here helping me with books, Taps Gallagher. He's here. And it's St. Patty's Day. I don't want to take the Eisenhower. I want to take the Stevenson. I hate the Eisenhower because drug dealers, it's fast. I'm just a baby. I can't do this. So I got to take the Eisenhower. I get on the Eisenhower, and like my mom said, you've always heard voices. I hear a voice. I can't explain it to you, but I hear a voice. I didn't do drugs. I don't. Well, yes, but not at this afternoon. Where's Father? So I get on the Eisenhower and I hear a voice that says, go to the cemetery. Go to the cemetery. And I know exactly what cemetery, because in the Chicago Tribune, Our Lady Queen of Heaven, there was an article, a big one, about apparitions of Mary and Christ, still happening to this day. So all those parking tickets. I'm on the Eisenhower, and it's Our Lady Queen of Heaven, and as I get closer to Wolf Road, the exit I've got to take, I hear the voice again, go to the cemetery. I go. That's where Al Capone's buried. That's huge. You can go see it. I'm driving, and I get right, I should have been lost. I get right to the apparition site, and it's a big cross of Christ. Huge, huge, like 50 feet in the air. Feet come up here. Now, there's no such thing as a coincidence. God has a plan for you. One of my favorite homilies is God knows who you are before you're even born. Debbie took her parents down to Europe. They stopped at Fatima in the year 2000 on Mother's Day, and she got this little booklet, Mary's Face, Our Lady of Fatima, and I loved it. And I took that with treatment. That's the only religious thing we had in the house. I carried it all the time. I had it in my truck, and I'm there, and there's the cross. What am I going to do? I decide I'll take the brochure. I'm going to walk up to the cross. And I did. All by myself, a beautiful day, not a cloud in the sky. I went up and I put my hand on the feet of Christ. And I said, Jesus, I am so afraid. I was a mess, people. I said, I'm so afraid. And suddenly water started coming down on my hand, on my arm, circling around. I couldn't do this until then. I couldn't do this. This hand is stronger than this hand now. I couldn't do it. I put it on my head. I put it on my legs. And I just left. I ran home to Debbie and I said, Debbie, I can move my hand. I can move my arm. When I went to the apparition site, I put my hand up here. And then I went the next day. I just kind of went away, did my business. Thanks, God. Thanks for the hand. I haven't left you since I left church in Chicago, just to go hang out. Thanks. I left him. Hand works. Then work in Michigan, I get a call to go to the office. Go down, general manager, you're fired. Wait, I just signed a 5-year deal. Sue us. You're fired. 2 weeks severance pay. I felt like Ray Liotta in Goodfellas at the end. Are you kidding me? 30 years of radio, 2 weeks severance pay. How am I going to feed? What are we going to do? I told Debbie, Saturday, I got up, and I was on 28th Street in Michigan, where I live in Grand Rapids. I hear another voice. This voice says, go get your wife some flowers. Same voice. Go get your wife some flowers. There is no such thing as a coincidence, folks. I look up, there's a flower shop. And Debbie's been through a lot. I said, yeah, she could deserve some flowers. I drove in, it's snowing. I've got street shoes on, I've got MS, my balance, I can hardly walk, and I'm going to the door, and I look over by a dumpster. I just caught my eye, and I see this statue, and I walk closer, I shuffle closer, and I look, and I'm looking down. It's a statue of the Virgin Mary. She's on her back, she's broken right at the waist in two. Her hands are missing, she's covered in dirt and weeds and garbage. A McDonald's wrapper is slapping her in the face. And then I heard another voice. Cemetery, it was God. This one said to me sternly, will you deny me? Will you deny my mother? Clear as day. Will you deny me? Will you deny my mother? And I'm looking at her. She's looking at me. I go into the little flower shop. I'm all by myself. Here's a clerk. Yes. Can I help you? Yeah, I'd like to buy that statue that's out by the dumpster. Oh, no. Well, that's a family heirloom. We can't sell that. That's a family heirloom. We can't sell that. And I hear the voice again. Will you deny me? Will you deny my mother? I'm thinking, I'll steal it. I know guys up in Melrose. I'll steal it. And then I'll burn this place. And I just right there, I just said a prayer to myself. I said, help me, God. And suddenly the next thing that came out of my mouth, I have no idea. It just vomited out. I said, I'll give to the nuns that live out here. I don't know what? I will give to the nuns that live out here. The woman looks and goes, I know your voice. You're Kevin Matthews. You got fired yesterday. I'm not kidding you. Yeah, I got fired. What happened? I got fired. Can I please take that statue? I'll give money to the nuns that live out around here in your name if you let me take her. Would you please? Oh, sure. I didn't buy any flowers. I'm out. Forget Deb. I'm out. I go, and I'm trying to walk, and it's so slippery in my balance. And I hate to talk about a woman's weight, but she's heavy. Man, she's broken in half. I take the first part, and it took me so long to get her in the truck. Then I take the second, put her in the truck, make a little bed. I make a bed, I get into the truck, and a radio comes on. I shut that off. I hate radio. I'm never listening to radio, and I haven't since. I hate radio. And I turned up the heat, and I said, Mary, I'll never forget this. I said, Mary, I'll take care of you. I'll take care of you. I was not a religious person, but are you kidding me? The mother of Christ was embedded in mud and garbage. She was embedded. How many people saw that and did nothing? Will you deny me? Will you deny my mother? Was that asked of others? You're going to be asked that tonight. Will you deny me? Will you deny my mother? A full moon. A lot of things are going to come back after this for the rest of your life. I got home. A friend of mine, we cooked a lot. He's Father Mark. He's a good guy. I met him a few years, and I went over, I called him at St. Anthony's Parish. I said, Father Mark, hey, Kev, I found this statue of the Virgin Mary lying down. Where can I get it repaired? He told me there's a monument shop in the spring. So I go in the spring, I load her up, I go to the monument maker, and he looks at her and he goes, oh, sure, yeah, I can put new hands on her. I can paint her. I can make it so she doesn't have a scratch on her. You won't even tell she's broken. She's broken. That's when everything hit me. Everything hit me. I am so broken. I said, no, she is like me. I'm broken. I'm broken. I'm a mess. And I'm just crying in front of this man. He's like, I know he was looking for an alert button. Just please get me out of here. I'm not kidding. I break down. And I said, no, just put her back to halves. Keep her broken. I want her. She reminds me of me. She reminds me of us, this whole world. So I got her back home. And then Father Mark, I invited, would you come over and bless this statue? And he comes in and he blesses her. Blesses her. I just wanted her blessed. I don't know why. The garbage and how that happened, I want her blessed. He blesses her and the matrix happens. The matrix happens. The matrix was, will you deny me? Will you deny my mother? She's back together. She's blessed. Now she sits in my house. Jesus was saying to me, I'll leave you with her, and she will clean you up. Remember your room when it was messy? Your mom would say, clean it up. Second time, clean it up. Third time, clean it up. Then came the buckets and the mop, and she cleaned it up. Well, that's what Christ said to me. My mother will clean you up. And I've been with her for 10 years. I have no embarrassment or shame to stand in front of anyone. I will die for Mary. I love her. The last promotion I did on the air before I got fired, I met this little boy. We have DeVos Children's Hospital, cancer patients, little boy. His mother was a Kev head. Oliver was 7. He was going through cancer treatments, and we liked each other. I mean, and I stayed in touch. What happened to me as Mary's in the house for the first time, I started having dreams of roses. Of roses. Roses, 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 smelling roses, roses, roses. And Mary's presence saying, for every child that has been treated at that hospital, buy a rose for me. At that time, the hospital was new. There was 3,000 children. Where am I going to get the money? I'm unemployed. I called up a florist and I said, I need 3,000 flowers. And he knew me, and I've done some stuff. He said, Kevin, you know what? He'd heard about being fired. Sure, I'll give you flowers. I said, it's for DeVos Children's Hospital. So the first picture we ever took of Broken Mary is little Oliver. He's got his arms wrapped around. You can see the medical bracelet. And Oliver passed right after that. But we were able to take Broken Mary into this hospital, and children came down and parents came down. And the hospital, this part of the hospital smelled like flowers, roses, Mary. I took the rose petals, dried them, made a painting of Broken Mary, and entered it in Art Prize and got our first press. Kevin Matthews, former radio personality, has this statue of Broken Mary, did this for the hospital, and it begins. Just like Lourdes, a child, Fatima, a child, Oliver, a child, roses, Mary. Oh, I love that woman. And I was still smoking then, got a mullet, come in my gym pants, unemployed, sit down, have coffee. Hey, Mary, how are you? How are you? She's going to clean me up. Then, no, oh boy. And I want you to see, this is Broken Mary, who is now called Our Lady of the Broken. And please give her a hand. It's Our Lady. And that's her. And you're going to be able tonight, after Father's done, you're going to be able to come up here and be with her, and I'll sign books. I was in Orland Park not I'll go, and I'll get out of your way. I need to lose weight. I'm lacking Mary. I had somebody say to me afterwards, do you worship that statue? And does it have supernatural powers? Do you worship that statue? I don't get it. You worship that? I said, no, it's made out of concrete. It's pressed by a Mary factory. I said, that statue had meaning to me. Of course it does. But no, I don't worship that. And does it have superpowers? It's made out of concrete, maybe. I do know that when that statue, just like the tabernacle here, is present, Mary is here. Yes, all the time. But it has superpower? I don't know. There's people here in this room that have been touched by Mary. So that's what it was. How many, and it's almost over, folks, how many of you want to go to heaven? Some of you not sure. I don't know. Bears drafted pretty high last. We got a skybox. Some going. Do you know? I am so proud because I went to Fatima. I'm bringing her in for a week. She's at St. John Cantius. Sister Angela, who helped. She was the postulator for little Jacinta and Francisco. Made them saints. She's working on Lucia. We become friends. I'm bringing her in. You got to go see her. But I was talking to her, and she said to me, Kevin, do you want to go to heaven? I go, yeah. She goes, you know you have to be a saint? And I'm like, well, why did you wreck my day? What do you mean, a saint? She goes, no, not a canonized saint, like Mother Teresa or whatnot. Sanctity, saint-like. You have to become saint-like. You have to earn the virtue of Mary, quoting Jesus, but you have to be saint-like. How am I going to do that? Be nice. Be nice. It's one way. Now I have a theory. You got to try it. I think God hangs out at Meijer. Meijer, I'm not kidding you. Because I was in Meijer for the holidays, and the line was long, and it was long, and you just hear this beep, 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 beep. I finally get up. This poor woman, she's just there all day, and I thought, yeah, be nice. I looked at her name tag. Her name was Helen. I said, hi, Helen. She looks up, hi, how are you? I'm good. Boy, are you almost off? Yeah, 2 more hours. Wow, it's Christmas time. Who's that button that you have on your smock? Who's that? She goes, that's my son. He's a football player. Yeah, he's a linebacker for Michigan State. We start talking. And she's kind of like, yeah. And I said, God bless you. Thank you, and Merry Christmas. But I said, God bless you. Father's here. You don't have to be a priest to tell people, God bless you. Try that. Try that. Be nice. Be nice. When you see somebody who's troubled or whatever, or just whoever, God bless you. John, God bless you. God bless you. Nice mass. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you all. What's amazing is we were born to be saints. We were born to be disciples. We were born, we're children of God. Every one of us, like my cousins and Father Frank, we're family. As Santa or Joe Chasing Horse would say, O matakwiyase, to all my relations. We are all related. We are. We're all related. I can see some of the biggest, I've been such a big jerk, and I know people are going, that jerk, but that jerk was created by God. Keep praying for him. Keep praying for him. It has been an unbelievable 5 years. I get back with Father Mark, and he goes to me, don't you owe those nuns money? Oh, yeah. And so he goes, let's go out to the Franciscan Center, I think that's what you mean, and we'll have dinner. Bring Broken Mary, bring. And I went out and I was going to say Broken Mary, talk how I found it, and we're going to have dinner. The little Franciscans, there's a height requirement for them. If you're over 4 feet, you have to be a Carmelite or a Dominican. Franciscans are under 4 feet, and they're little brown habits, and they're just the way, I was like Richard Dreyfuss in Close Encounters. They just all come up and just move me around. And I that night I got up and I said, I found her, and I said, I didn't want her fixed because we're all broken, but we're loved by God. We're all broken, but we're loved by God. That came from me, Kevin Matthews. Father Mark goes home, he's driving. Boy, that'd make a nice homily. Calls me up the next day, he goes, next week, would you want to come out, do the 3 masses? I'll start the homily, and then you finish them. Bring Broken Mary. And I like that. We're all broken. We're loved by God. Sure, I'll do it. I can't say no. I've opened for Seinfeld, Tim Allen. What's church? Zanies, Alpine Valley. I can do that. So I get out there at 7:30 with Broken Mary, and wow, I get out there. We're all broken. We're loved by God. I'm sweating a little bit, and before I got done with the 7:30 homily, I heard that voice again. Will you deny me? Will you deny my mother? This time, same voice. Say a Hail Mary for my mother. I said, we're going to say a Hail Mary for Mary. I hadn't said a Hail Mary since 4th grade. And a bass, when I was learning it, I was chewing gum. A nun pulled it out like a bass, a lure, and I get through it, I wing it, I said it. Oh, now comes the 10 o'clock Mass. I say the same thing, the homily. I'm talking in front of all these people. We're all broken. We're loved by God. The voice, say a Hail Mary for my mother. So, we're going to say Hail Mary, Hail Mary. I get through it. I get done with that Mass. I go to Father Mark and I say, Father Mark, I am dying up here. I know what it's like to be in a comedy club dying. I'm dying up here. I'm dying up here. He said, Kevin, turn and look. People were on their knees. I did the 11:30. I heard that again. Say a Hail Mary for my mother. I did. I haven't heard that voice. I've heard it twice. We had a march with Our Lady of the Broken, that's what she's called now, at St. John Campus in Chicago. 8,000 people showed up to walk down Chicago Avenue. She went from a dumpster to a bed of roses. Even the cardinal said, that's the best news we've had in such a long time. From roses, a dumpster to roses. And I heard that voice, I love you so much, I weep for you. I heard that voice again because one of the things that I've learned, I've struggled with is suffering. Why do people suffer? Why do babies die of cancer? Why? Suffering, suffering, suffering. And Our Lady of the Broken, the most broken are coming to her. They are coming to her. They are coming to her. I had a woman, I was speaking in Orland Park 2 weeks ago. She said, she had something happen in front of her. Her husband took his life. And her eyes and the sorrow. But I talked and I sensed she has the rosary now. All this suffering, I send them to the rosary, to Mary. It's not about me, folks. You didn't come to see me. I say it all the time. I'm Mary's roadie. I'm Mary's roadie. She wanted to go to Orland Park. She wanted to go to Green Bay. She's been all over. I finally met with a nun that was a writing professor. We had dinner with Father Mark, and because I said to people, take Broken Mary, and she has. She's been in hospice and, emergency room. She's been in prison. She's been with the most broken for years, and people are writing. Things are happening. And so this nun, we get together, and I say, you can write this book. She goes back to her mother superior and says, I am not working with him. He is Satan. He is Satan. Have you heard his show? He worked with Howard Stern. I'm not doing this. She did. And she would ask me a question. It started out. She would say, tell me about your college radio station. I put it all out there. I put it all out there. She wrote back, oh my. And it went back and forth. It went back and forth. So I'm writing the book, and then what is Mary going to do when you're with Mary? What is she going to teach you? Her rosary. Her rosary. Lent came up. I'm starting to kind of be a good Catholic. I decided I'll do the rosary for Lent. Lent comes up, and all of a sudden, I don't know how to say the rosary. I had to Google it. And I get this Irish little priest saying the rosary. After about 4 days, I go, I could do that. I got a great pipes, radio. I used to be in there. I'll make a rosary app and make millions. Well, we're doing the book, the rosary app, and the nun's helping me with both the rosary app and the book. That poor woman has earned her wings. She was telling me my diction. The book and the rosary app took 2 years to do. We got 3 of the biggest publishing companies wanting them. Matthew Kelly. Sister goes, Matthew Kelly wants to publish us. I go, who's Matthew Kelly? Is he in the Stones? No, big. And so we go with him. And I have not made money on this book. I took the proceeds, $10,000. The Fatima 100th anniversary coming up. And I'm going to take the nun, I'm Father Mark, and myself. We're going to go down for the 100th anniversary. And I did. And this Catholic magazine asked us all to journal, so we're taking notes. And I want to tell you stuff before I leave. In Fatima, the closer I got to the apparition site, the sadder I got. I did. I got sad. Mary, when she appeared to the 3 children, she didn't smile. She was sad because no one was listening to her son. No one was listening. And the closer I got sad too. I was invited to say the rosary at the apparition site. I didn't know how to say a rosary 2 years ago. The Fatima statue's looking at me. And it's like, are you kidding me? You talk about full circle? I listened. I'm in Fatima. Mary sent me to Fatima. Why? I'm saying her rosary. The rosary is, I wear my rosary. I don't dare take this off. I wear a scapular. Why? Because she tells us, say the rosary every day. That's what she said to the children. Wear your scapular. I'm doing exactly what she's telling me to do. That's what I'm doing. Before I left, the one Fatima statue where Sister Lucia was in her Carmelite convent, Sister would pray to it, and it's the bleeding heart of Mary. I looked at that, and I said, Mary, I caused your heart to bleed. I did. I caused your heart to bleed. I'll take credit for the biggest thorn that's pierced your heart. I caused you the most pain. I caused you the most suffering. I spit in your son's face. I own that. I'm sorry. I'll never hurt you again. I will take care of you for the rest of my life. I will die for you, Mary. I love you, Mary. Before we left, Father and Sister went out, and I'm by myself at the apparition site in August. That happened 100 years ago. There's a concrete statue of Mary. And I was looking at it, and I said, Mary, I've got 2 rosary apps, a book, now what? And as soon as I said, now what, I thought to myself, how derogatory? Are you kidding me? Something whizzed by my head and broke on the brick flooring outside. And I said to myself, whatever that was, if that would have hit me, that would have killed me. As soon as I said, now what? Woo, bam. Presence of Mary comes. I want nothing. A pine cone is seeds. Plant the seeds of my rosary. That's what I want. Plant the seeds of my rosary. That is my life, is to tell others about the rosary. Plant the seeds of my rosary. By the way, we're in an olive garden. There's no pine trees. Where did this come from? I still have that. I have this rosary. I wear this rosary. And A friend of mine, Cor, is here. She is somebody I was speaking like 2 years ago. I heard that voice. It was before I talked. Go to her, bring her to me, say the rosary, 3 Hail Marys, and tell her she'll be okay. I went up to Cor, who's here tonight. I said, excuse me, but Mary wants us to come, say 3 Hail Marys. We did. And she wants you to know you're going to be okay. I later found out that Cor was undergoing breast cancer. And we've stayed real close. It's in remission. She's dedicated to the rosary. I was out last night having dinner. There was a woman that doesn't know me, radio, nothing of this. And I was talking, she told me her name. She showed me this medal that she said, I'm a cancer victim, breast cancer. And Mary's rosary got me through it. And I'm thinking, I'm introducing Cor in this woman in cancer with people. I've been in prisons with lifers. Talk about broken. These inmates, I don't know what they've done, but they're in for life. They're holding rosaries now. One says, you know, Kevin, I'm going to die here. I'm never going to get out of here. But I said, you get to choose where you want to go. Your next stop, you get to choose. I'm tired of people blaming God. God, if there's a God, why do we have war? Why do we have hunger? Why? God gave us free will. God has given us everything we need for everything. Everything. God has given us everything. People, I didn't go to church. I run into so many people, I've left the Catholic Church. Remember that the Catholic Church is not belong to the Pope, a bishop, priest, nuns, parishioners. It was built by Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ, his crucifixion, built the Catholic Church. If you leave the Catholic Church, you are leaving Jesus. You are. Come back. Come back. I don't have much time on this earth. And I know some of you folks don't either. We don't. Time is so limited. If I can recommend anything, you take him with you as you leave tonight and never abandon him. Never abandon him. God, he will call you and call you. Remember with Joe Chasing Horse, until you breathe that last breath. And then you will go to 3 places. You will. I always say, God has a plan for you, and so does Satan. It's true. I have been demonically attacked since I've done this. I have priests. I do. I love her. I got my rosary. I was trying to plant the seeds of my rosary. I was trying to get these college kids to say the rosary, and I wanted to bring Broken Mary to Aquinas College. So I wrote Kevin Quinn, the president. I said, Kevin, I'm an author. I've got Broken Mary. I'd like to come on campus, plant the seeds of my rosary. I hit send. That same day, I went and I wrote Sister Angela down in Fatima. Sister, we want to fly you up, Father Mark, and we want you to speak on Fatima. Sent those 2 emails at the same time. Boom. As soon as I hit send, I have this feeling of it's demonic, evil, chilling, evil come over me, and I hear this voice that says, she's done with you. You sin too much. She's done with you. You sin too much. I was devastated. I was devastated. I went to bed. I woke up. I didn't even get out of bed. I put my feet down and I said, Mary, are you done with me? Do I sin too much? And as soon as I said that, the phone rang. That's how Mary talks to you. The phone rang. It was Aquinas College saying, we just got back from spring break. Sorry it took so long. Yes, we'd love to have you come out with Broken Mary. Yes. I get off that phone. As soon as I get off, the phone rings. It's a friend of mine in Florida. Did you see Sister Angela is coming from Fatima, Portugal, to you? That's how we are talked to. Folks, you could get a text message, but keep your eyes open, keep your ears open. Be open to this. Love him. How many of you believe? I believe. I believe I should go to church and I should have the Eucharist. But what's changed with me is not only, as Simon the disciple said, not only do I believe, but now I am convinced you exist. I am convinced you exist. Now I have to say my rosary, or I can't breathe. The rosary is Mary's umbilical cord. She gave us the rosary to Dominic in the 12th century. It is, if you want the most impossible, I will say this on behalf of Mary, give her the most impossible because she will give it to her son. Go ahead. Who's under the most impossible life situations? Go to the rosary. I have brokenmary.com. You can hear me recite it. It's free. Go to her rosary. It's her umbilical cord. When we hold that rosary, we're holding the power of God. And when we hold the power of God, anything impossible is possible. Anything. When we take our rosaries out, Satan hates the rosary. When we take this rosary out and say, Hail Mary, Mary comes to our side mystically. She comes to our side mystically. How do we know? It's a mystery. You have to have faith. Do you believe, or are you convinced that Mary comes to your side? She does. Happy Easter. Believe he's risen and he's coming again. He's coming again. We're all going to be asked, what have you done for me and who have you loved? And before you leave the presence of God, he's going to say, did you love my mother? She loves you. She calls you sister, sister, my daughter, my son, my son, my son. She's our mother. Go to her. She will never let you down. And like she said to that one, go and fear nothing. God bless you. And fear nothing. I will help you. I know Father's going to come back. I'll be out signing books. You're more than welcome to come up to Our Lady of the Broken. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, and God bless you, and Happy Easter.
Please kneel, brothers and sisters, and now is the time, about 10 minutes, to open your heart before Jesus. Explain him your life, everything what you feel in your heart, maybe problems, relationship with families, friends.
Thank you so much for your help.
This 10 minutes to private adoration to help us to
Thank you.
speak with Jesus and start relationship, bigger and deeper relationship with our Lord Jesus Christ.
Thank you so much for your help. I'll put this over here. Thanks. Thanks, buddy. I'll move these. Just give us room. No. Hey, how are you? Good. Oh, thank you for coming out.